Today's episode of the Rants of Izzo Show is brought to you by Spreely Media. Go to Spreely.com. Check out all things free speech. Download the Freedom Hub app for your smartphone, all one word, Freedom Hub. Or if you got an Apple, Roku, Fire Stick, all that kind of stuff, you download Spreely TV for it and enjoy all the free speech we have. All of it. You got a social media platform, you got shows, you got news, you got podcasts, vids, and more. And today's show is brought to you by FlexYourFeminine.com. FlexYourFeminine.com. Sick of eating less and exercising more? Bored of the bro sounds? Are you ready to trust the motherfucking process? Craving cyclical awareness. It's cyclical awareness, right? Cyclical awareness. Got it. Okay. Break up with the hustle matrix. Go to flexyourfeminine.com. Take your fucking life back. Let's have a show.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on the show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention. This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your host, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
It is Friday. We're here. Thank God at the end of the week. And we've made it. Rants of Izzo Show here on Spreely.com. If you are into free speech, if you're actually into all the stuff that you want to be able to say and you aren't able to say, and you need to support Spreely.com. I mean, there should be millions of you, because we know how many email lists this gets sent out to. We know. We have email today. We have to read. I do know how many of you people. It's not a racist term. How many people are out there watching the show or whatnot support Spreely? I know it is a very daunting task to get out of your comfort zone and go and do that. Over in the chat, it is good to see Beverly Banks, Kelly Wilson, Morgan. Is that today? Are you always chiming in at the same damn time? Punctual. Kate Bergner. It is today. Why can't I share on Twitter? I don't have that. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Kayla's in the chat.
What's Twitter?
Yeah, I know. Fucking X or whatever.
Just kidding. I know.
Sarah. And I know April Schoen is somewhere out there, but it's good to see you guys.
Sarah.
We do have a chat, and if you're watching on any platform or even if you're listening on a podcast and you look at the description of the show, it'll give you the links to be able to support the show all the way from, we are 100% fully listener and viewer funded. So go ahead and help us out. And if you want to jump in the chat, we got a nice little community there, but nobody seems to be sending nudes yet, and that's pissing me off. Okay, hang on. We need to read just a couple of emails from listeners here. This is from Brett, and he's responding to an article written on the Rants of Izzo website about Halloween. And he says, my view, and I want to talk to you about this too.
Okay.
My view of this is what I always taught. Halloween is a time to celebrate the harvest. It's a time, the change of seasons from fall into winter. A time to remember those who have passed. If I could use one movie show, it would be the Charlie Brown, the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown movie. I'm sorry, Brett. I'm not correcting you. It's not Charlie Brown Great Pumpkin movie. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. I mean, if you're a child of the 70s, you should know that, and how dare you. I have a homemade pumpkin patch out front of my driveway. On September 1st, the pumpkin patch sign goes up, and every day a pumpkin gets added until the 25th of October. Then my peanut trick-or-treaters go up until the 11/1, that's today or so. The end of November, that all comes down with the Christmas peanuts go up from the 20th to the 27th. Peanut sensitivity. Neighbors love it. You're definitely from Canada. Neigbours Love it. And for me, it's at 74. It's a good way to give a little joy. Oh, you're 70. You're my dad's age. You should have known that. Yeah, Halloween was yesterday. Today's November 1st, which means it's officially Christmas season. I don't give a shit who says what. Fucking as long as it's not Mariah Carey in my ears, I don't care. But did you celebrate Halloween, or was it a little too satanic for your taste?
No, I don't do Halloween. There's been a few years where I've dressed up and like gone over to a friend's house for chili. My husband likes horror and scary movies. I can't do it, but I'll kind of play along a little bit leading up to Halloween and watch some of the scarier for me. I won't do horror no matter what. He knows that, but like I'll kind of play along and so he can get his fix this time of year, but that's about as far as I'll go. It's not my thing at all.
I do. I know a very well-known pastor out here in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, and he has preached on it where it's like how it's the intent behind it, and it's not satanic unless you. What did I say? I think I said this the other day. It's like if you stir your coffee with a spoon counterclockwise and then in the form of an X or a swastika, you can make doing that satanic. So it's like holy shit, everything and their mother is satanic. I can take or leave Halloween. Rachel and I spent quite a few days in October watching horror films. She's a fucking horror film junkie. And I am like, all right, we got some good stuff out there. Didn't watch The Exorcist, though. Should have. I think I'm finally over my fear of that movie. And it's taken like fucking 40.
Did you ever watch? Oh my God. It's my brain. It's on the tip of my tongue and I can't reach it. Nefarious. Did you ever watch Nefarious?
No, that's the one where the guy's sitting across the table interviewing the devil or whatever. I didn't watch it yet. I need to watch it. That's what that's what we're watching tonight.
Yeah, watch it. I've seen that. Is it a horror film? No. Is it got a lot of like the spiritually demonic stuff going on and it's really well done? Yes, I've seen it 4 times now. Because like I've made all my family watch it and I'll just watch it with them.
Okay.
And my mother-in-law and my husband, we've watched it like twice. So that's one that I definitely do recommend because it's what that movie does is it's very educational. It's a conversation, right? But it's very educational onto how the spirit realm operates and how the demons are operating. So the whole message of, yes, your intentions do matter, but your ignorance also plays a part. And if you are choosing ignorance because you want to believe that your intentions matter more, you're gonna call in consequences of natural law, God's law, that are just what they sound like, natural.
I don't want no possession. We watched Veronica like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And that bitch was playing with a Ouija board. I'm like, man, I very briefly dated a woman. This had to be, I don't know how many, 2016-ish. And it was the first time I went back to actually her parents' house and I got to meet her mom and whatnot. She's like, yeah, this is where I grew up. And this is, this is where I played with the Ouija board. And I'm like, what? I'm sorry, what? Because, yeah, I had a Ouija board, and I opened it up one night. I was screwing around with it, and I heard a really loud, door slam in the house. And I'm like, what? I've had some very weird women acknowledge stuff like that I'm like, I'm done.
Just like off the cuff.
Dude, oh, yeah, like right after her, well, that was like the beginning of the end. I'm like, I can't, you don't take this seriously. I'm not fucking with you, dude. I'm not, this shit is like, she goes, yeah, whatever. And
like, what do you have attached to you that I'm now exposed to?
Dude, don't open the fucking door while I'm there. No, hell no. I'm in bed with another woman. This is shortly after, like this was, so that one broad was, I think it lasted till like February of 2017. So like 6-7 months after that, I'm dating another one. And, it's progressing slowly. And like 3-4 weeks into it, we're just laying in bed. And there's these Roman numerals written above her door. You're nodding your head. Do you know what those are for?
Well,
You kind of do.
Tell me what she thinks they're for.
She explained to me they were angelic numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what okay, right. Now, I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. And then she proceeds to say, well, every now and then I'll wake up in the middle of the night and there'll be a little boy standing at my bed. And I'm like, what? What? Needless to say, I'm never sleeping over.
Yeah.
Because the worst part was she didn't like white noise. So it was like, because I can't sleep without white noise. I'm not going to part my eyes and look at the foot of my bed and see some fucking little bowl haircut kid.
Little Chucky.
Like where he's wearing like the 1800s like blouse shirt that he grew up on a farm and he's lost. And I'm like, and I get like that sleep paralysis shit where I'm like, oh no, I'm not fucking doing it. So you don't think that the angel numbers is what she said, which I had never set foot in my uncle's apartment until he died and we had to clean it out. And after about 2 weeks of cleaning, I just happened to look up one day, walk out his front door. He had the same shit above his fucking door. And he was extremely Catholic. I mean, he was Catholic. What are they?
So like, my thing is like, why are we putting these angel numbers over the door? Like we have that's a very copy pasted version of the blood on the doorpost, right? So it's a counterfeit. And I'm not one to say that like, oh, angel numbers are demonic, even in and of themselves. I personally believe, through my research and just life experience, that a lot of the new age, basically all of the new age stuff that we have floating around now is counterfeit of scripture. It's a counterfeit of Christ.
Well, why wouldn't that be the case when you think about Catholics who stole everything? Is a counterfeit. Christmas is a counterfeit of Festival of the Sun, S-U-N. All the statues of Mary are a counterfeit of Venus and Aphrodite. We just took over pagan and Greek and Roman culture.
Correct.
And the statue makers and whatnot. For those who don't know about this kind of stuff, like Easter, that was a pagan holiday.
Ishtar.
Yeah. So we took everything. And those people who needed their businesses kept, like if you're a statue maker in Greece in like 500 AD and you're like, what the fuck, man? Constantine's taking my shit or whatever. I don't know what years those were. Probably much later than that. You're like, man, I got to keep making these statues of Zeus. What am I going to do? Oh, all right. I guess I'm just going to call him God then. So we stole all this shit from them, but go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, it's just kind of my perspective. So it's also, there's a lot of like, when you go to thrift stores or you have secondhand furniture or antiques, a lot of people love collecting antiques. Like all of these things can have spirits attached to them. And if you think about it that way, there's also portals available with these things. So the angel numbers scheme I like to look at is actually rooted in numerology, which is one of God's languages. He's a mathematician, master mathematician. If he wasn't, this world wouldn't operate correctly, right?
But to prove your point, I can't remember what it's called. But I don't know if you've ever read the book. It's one of the very few fiction books I've read in the last like 20 years. The Da Vinci Code. Mm-hmm. Okay, do you remember in the Da Vinci Code how there's that mathematical equation they talk about that proves there's a creator? If you guys, Bev, you might know this in the comment. It says like, and now you have visual, you can see me now, and you all can see how distracted I get during the show. I always try to hide it from you guys. I'm always doing shit. That's why I enlarge your screen so I can do whatever. Anyways, give it up my production tricks. They say that the mathematical distance from this knuckle to the tip of my finger is the exact from put these two together and is exact from these two together all the way, like every joint you have, it's the exact same distance when you break it down in this mathematical equation, which proves design, creation. Right. It says it's impossible. Otherwise it would be random as hell. So that I never thought about God being a mathematician, especially math is like the only pure universal language.
Right. So for sure, I definitely do believe that he's the master mathematician. And if that's the case, then we can look at, well, obviously Satan and his team would counterfeit that, right? So hence we get things like quote unquote angel numbers. So do I believe in angel numbers? No, because I believe that that's the counterfeit to the master mathematician's language.
Well,
so I think that he can speak to us through numbers, but we need to be very clear about who it is that we're talking about or talking to or receiving from when we have things like repeating numbers showing up in our conscious awareness and that sort of thing. And I would never put angel numbers over my doorpost because that's just so clearly a counterfeit to the blood of Christ.
Not only, who the hell are you like praying to? That goes back to Catholicism. You're praying to angels. Last time I checked, and this was one of the easiest. I know there's a lot of Catholics out there. My God, this is really going to mess you up. Get this little teeny tiny book. I have it. My friend gifted this book to me. I do not know how to purchase it. I haven't looked up online, but this book is called Biblical Answers to Catholic Questions. I'll give you an example, right? One of the biggest ones that in my... Oh, here we go. No, saints. We're talking about saints. Oh, wait a second. Man, there's so much good stuff. Mary. The one that got me was Mary, right? And...
Goddess of heaven.
Well, and it was, what did we know forever? Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death, amen. It's a fucking chant. And I always loved it where, like, we
talked about repetition and portals and chanting.
Yeah. The rosary. I felt a certain type of, like, I used to collect rosaries a little bit when I was a kid because Saint Dominic invented the rosary. I was like, oh, yay, blah, blah, blah. And I really had a hard time when my buddy sits there and he goes, because he was just like me, Italian, Catholic, and then he left the Catholic Church, went to Christian faith and actual Bible study, and he goes, hey, and he was so good about how he wound up presenting to me the idea of, he wasn't intrusive, like, you're doing it wrong. He wasn't doing that shit. And when we finally started talking about it, I'm like, all right, what about, he goes, well, do you pray to Mary? I'm like, of course I pray to Mary. He goes, where's that in the Bible? I went, and I knew just enough, it's in the Bible that you're not supposed to put anybody before God. So when I started learning this shit, I talked to my mother, and this was so hard to get through to her. Hey, Ma, you can't pray to Mary. She intercedes for us. No, that's Jesus who does that. She intercedes for Jesus. It's like, you can't convince them.
Where is that in the Bible?
But here's a great thing. Like, and this is in this book, Biblical Answers for Catholic Questions. Where is the, I want to come, Mary is a mediatrix.
Interesting.
Right, that's what it's called.
Interesting term chosen there.
And this was created in 969 AD. The Bible teaches Jesus is the only mediator. That's in 1 Timothy 2:5, John 14:6, Isaiah 43:11, and Colossians 1:14. Where's the one about her being taken up into heaven? That had to be one of them. But it's comment. Here's a comment, and there's a whole list of things in the back of it. Like Mary lived a lifeless sin. The Catholic Church teaches that in 966. Which is Mary never died in 966. The doctrine of Assumption. Yeah, that's where she went right up to heaven. Grace is a gift from God, not from Mary. It is appointed for everyone to die once. That's Romans 6:23. So this is a great book for anybody who has questions about this. Even the purgatory.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a good resource. And again, it comes back to like what you and I have talked about for years now is just question everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Catholic, question. If you are Jewish, question. If you're evangelical, question.
Can we question the Jews?
Well,
Yeah, apparently
we can. We're on Spreely Media.
Yeah, I'm full. I'm going to say it flat out. If I'm anti-Semitic because I do not like being told to blindly accept people. And the more I go down this rabbit hole, the more I'm like, I don't like this.
Well, technically, if questioning the Jews or disagreeing with, because honestly, that's what it boils down to, is disagreeing. If you question, then the logical conclusion is to disagree on certain things, and that's what they don't want. So if disagreement makes you anti-Semitic, then Christ was anti-Semitic.
Did you listen? I don't think you listened to yesterday's show. And I'd have to.
Was that the one you took the clip out of?
Yes, it is. Okay, so did you see that? What it said? I don't know. For those who missed yesterday's show, I talked about a rabbi who.
I saw that clip, yeah. Rabbi Shmuley, and you talked to me about Rabbi Shmuley too.
I don't remember. Did I? I knew that the guy was a little bit familiar to me. What did we talk?
We started. Okay, so this is what happened 2 weeks ago because we took last week off. We were talking about Hitler and asking questions. And then we started talking about Rabbi Shmuley, and you were playing a clip from him, and we kept pausing and talking and then playing. And we ran out of time before we could get through all of Rabbi Shmuley's.
He seems like wait a second. He seems like what is his position? Because in the article I read it seemed like he was pro Jew, but
maybe it's a different rabbi that you and I were talking about then.
That was from I'd have to look up that from Low. That was from Lola. Let me take a look.
Maybe it was a different rabbi.
I want to get your thoughts on there. Where this Rabbi Shmuley says that evangelical Christians are like the greatest supporters of Jews because of their non-literal interpretation of the Bible. And I went, oh, that makes 100% sense. I'm going to make my sin justified in the Word.
I was just having a conversation with a gal about this week. She's a client of mine actually, and she wanted to use like half of her check-in call to talk about one of the posts that I made recently about solar worship and how that ties into things, and where I stand on stuff. And so I was sharing with her that I was raised evangelical Christian, and then I kind of had a falling out. I rebelled, so to speak, in my early 20s during my divorce, and came back to the Lord in a completely new way. I always say I came back because he never left me, but it was just one of those seasons where I went full blown. I think you and I've talked about it before. I went full blown like feminist and was very much in my masculine energy, boss babe, era. And so I broke down and came back to his feet about 2018, like mid 2018, and had a whole new understanding of the relational aspect of God. And I call that kind of my feminine awakening to the masculine, holy masculine of who God and Christ is. So since then, he's been obviously revealing to me a lot of anti-mainstream stuff. And I continue to seek and want to learn and submit to what he's revealing to me, and constantly pray for wisdom, because this stuff is hard to talk about. It's hard to mull through in your own mind. It's hard to not get caught in the thistles. Right. And so it's just one of those things where like I look back on and I look out at the evangelical community in America, and I'm just like, I remember I was young, but I remember in my teens when I was really involved in the evangelical church, it was just like all they talked about was the four gospels. Like every sermon.
That's Catholic school.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Like there was not a lot of teaching from the Old Testament. There was not. Well, and it's not like I don't believe my pastor.
You got a hangnail? You got a hangnail? God hates you. That's what we had. From the Old
Testament. Oh God. But it was like, and I've even told my parents this later. It's like, I loved our pastor and I loved our church, and it was a great community to be a part of. And my parents are still friends with a lot of people from that church, even though it's been scattered across the nation. But the reality is like I don't feel like I was really prepared by the word.
Never had this before. You don't write in your Bible. This is Romans 8. I guess they took a survey of pastors. They said, in their opinion, this is the most important book and chapter in the Bible. But I've never had that where it's like, we never had that in Crafted Grammar School.
For someone who went to seminary to say that there's a most important chapter of the Bible is like they're taking that. It's become the religion of Paul. I'll just put it that way. Like what I see in the major church, evangelical, whatever denomination you want to talk about, in the Western culture, it's become the religion of Paul, because the only scriptures that they take seriously are the scriptures that were written by Paul. And I'm like, hello.
I never put two and two together. Oh.
How about the red letters, and where the red letters came from that he fulfilled is all the Old Testament? Why aren't we learning the history of the foundation of the entire thing? Like, why?
I'm just mockingbirding what I was taught, but yeah, I guess you're right.
I know. And I there's a lot that I'm still breaking through so that I don't continue to mockingbird things, but it's very interesting.
I kind of want to do one more email from Diana Sanchez.
Yeah.
Diana Sanchez says, this was in a Civil War article that was written on the rantsofizzo.com. If you go to rantsofizzo.com and you go all the way to the bottom of the website, there's a space where you can enter in your email, and we'll include you in our newsletter. As far as Civil War is concerned, if they cheat and get camel toe, that's exactly what needs to happen. Squeakiest wheel. Would a civil war suck? Yes. Big, hairy gorilla balls suck. This is coming from a grandma, by the way. I'm gonna. That's what makes it funnier. This is signed by. That's Grandma's Rant of the Day. This is Grandma Diana. That's what she signs the email to. But I live in a communist county, but living in a communist county would suck. But living in a communist country would suck a lot worse. We cannot leave this for the instant gratification, time out, and everything that's wrong and right. Everything that's wrong is right, and everything that's right is wrong. People who identify with being a cat furry, being called them, the social media influencers, is a real job generation. But I honestly believe that if everyone who believes it was stolen just doesn't go to work and stands by peacefully on the street corners with signs and protection, I'm not a retard, we will shut down the economy so fast their heads will be spinning. This is a great long email. And I'm going to get her permission to see if I can publish it on the website. But cool. I just want to give her a little acknowledgement. She goes in this very big, long rant about a potential civil war. And the problem is we're at that point. We're civil warring in the comment section of shit every single day. And you cut ties and you burn relationships and you don't go do shit. And it's a very, very, very small number of people who are willing to throw a punch or cut your head off or shoot you. And that's not most people out there on either side.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Well, I'll tell you this. I don't think personally, I don't see civil war happening on election day. Like,
no,
I don't see them stealing the election.
Oh yeah, they will. I'm 100%. I'm voting Trump, but I see her being placed in office.
I don't see her actually winning the election. I see them letting Trump win. And then they've been painting this whole thing with the insurrection for over a year, for years, honestly, since when was that?
2021. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, since 21, they've been painting this whole thing about Trump being the leader of the insurrection.
What, they're going to do one now and we're going to be like, yay, it's okay.
No, they're going to not certify the election on January 6th of 25. That's what they're going to do. That's how they're going to steal this. It's not going to be in November. It's my perspective.
It's going to be a shitty.
It's going to be a shit show. They're going to let us think we won for the rest of this year. And then come January 6th, they're just not going to certify. This is why it's so important when you're voting, going out and voting right now. Yes, okay. We agree Trump should be your vote, okay? But beyond Trump, we need to vote for the Senate and the seats that are lower down on the totem
think those are
pole,
more important. I think those are
because
far more
that's
important.
who's going to certify the election on January 6, 2025.
Have you listened to any of JD Vance's interviews or speeches?
Yes, I haven't been able to sit down and listen to the Joe Rogan interview from yesterday, but I will.
After that debate I watched with him and Waltz, because I thought Waltz was going to bring out the bully stick, and Waltz completely, I didn't know that Waltz was this aloof. JD Vance, I'd never paid attention to before. I'm extremely impressed by him.
I mean, that debate I was not expecting much either. And that debate was actually riveting. He was so captivating.
He was so gracious to Waltz. I mean, that was a political debate. He answered the question that I've said, what happens after 2028 when Trump is no longer politically relevant? How do we go back from this? We go back by someone like him. So I hope he does run 2028.
Or Vivek.
I like him. I like that. I
like
the passion, the energy. We have not gone into the rabbit hole of videos for a while, so we have to do that. We have to play a lot of catch up on stuff. And we go into the DMs where we're at, and let's watch some stuff that Kayla has sent me here. This is from 50 Shades of Consciousness. Let's hear what he has to say.
What if Kamala Harris was never meant to actually take off?
What's it?
This is what I was just talking about.
Well, okay, we can hear it.
Kamala Harris was never meant to actually take office as the next president of the United States. What if she was simply put up as a distraction? So while conservatives, while the right is over here waving their victory flags, laughing at her because she is a laughing stock, she's hilarious, but already taking the victory lap, if you will, not understanding that she was put up simply to be a distraction because the real strategy is taking place behind the curtains. And let me explain this to you for just a second for those of you who aren't understanding where I'm coming from. Jamie Raskin, the congressman from Maryland, has been parroting this specific line, stating that even if Donald Trump is voted in, because it looks like he's absolutely going to be, that they will invoke the 14th Amendment, Section 3, which states that it disqualifies as a provision any former government official from holding office if they took an oath to support the Constitution, but then betrayed it by engaging in an insurrection. And they've called Donald Trump consistently an insurrectionist, even though not.
Here's the problem with this. There's been, and this boils back down to rule of law all the way on a local municipal level. Not one single person has been charged with an insurrection, inciting insurrection.
Correct.
Nothing. People do,
Correct.
and if they,
but why are there still people in jail for it?
And I'm saying this for entertainment purposes only because I do not know how to answer this question. I don't know why Americans haven't stormed the justice system is so fucked up. I talk about a woman named Melissa Kaluzinski all the time. It's a very personal case for me out here in Illinois. She's rotting in fucking prison for the last 13 years for killing a toddler that evidence says she didn't fucking kill. There's 2 48-hour episodes with Aaron Moriarty that they show this fucking girl didn't do it. There's YouTube video, hours of YouTube video of my former police chief bullying the shit out of this girl for 16 hours to falsely confess because she thought if she told them what they wanted to hear, she'd get to go home to her puppy. The girl has a verbal IQ of 70. So here's my thing. If there's this evidence, including a major coroner who said, no, this was a pre-existing an issue, a former coroner who says this is a pre-existing issue, evidence all over the place, false confession is that, why are we going through the due process of appeal, state court, Supreme Court, then federal court? Why are we not just busting her the fuck out of prison? The system sucks, right? The system doesn't work.
Who's benefited from her being in prison?
All the people who would have to be held accountable, the hundreds of people who were involved in her case, and the millions of dollars the county is going to have to pay out when she gets out. My point being is, it blows me away where I could be arrested tomorrow and spend 30 years in prison. Somebody goes, no, I didn't kill that. Izzo didn't kill that person. This I did. Here's me online. Here's my confession. Here's me shooting the person. Here's me. It's a video. You can run it and see that it's not AI. And I still would have to sit in prison for years while the appeal process goes on.
Right.
That's people don't realize.
It's not justice.
No, and it's continuing this way. If they follow through this insurrection shit, people don't get. It's going to come back all the way to a local level where the state is going to. It's the final nail in the coffin for guilty until proven innocence. And that's what's coming, period.
And that's what worries me is I don't for 1 second believe that they have a case to not certify the election because of the 14th Amendment and quote unquote insurrection, because you're right. Nobody has had charges stick. It's a completely falsified quote unquote case, if you even want to call it a case, against Trump and everyone else involved. Yet we still have innocent men and women sitting in prison over this insurrection 3 years later. So they don't need, on January 6th, they don't need to actually have a guilty verdict for Trump in order to just freeze everything from being certified and progressing forward. And at that point, we have a situation where are we going to have just an extended state of national emergency and have martial law brought down on us? And there's a whole.
Here's this. This is thanks to Matt over in the chat. You know who Jamie Raskins is?
Yes.
Yeah. This is what he had to say, and I forgot about this, but here's what he has to say about that.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment.
So he's flat out saying they're not going to certify.
Correct. This is why I'm concerned. But this is why when we're voting, it's more than just voting for Donald Trump. We need to make sure that people are in positions in the Senate, Congress, when we're voting, that are going to hold these people accountable, because we need a complete clear out of DC and the Capitol.
It's never going to happen.
Well, that's what we need.
Yeah, never going to happen. People aren't going to get up off their ass, and nobody's going to do shit about it.
Yeah, that's my concern, is like, and coming back to the Christian church, the Christian church is so, what's the right word, placated, numbed out, whatever, because they think that they've got an escape hatch with the rapture.
We were talking about that the other day. It's like, that's the big Christian belief. It's like, you don't have to do anything. And it's, Jesus is going to come back. He could come back.
Let's just let it all burn.
1,000 years from now.
He's going to come back and save me.
He could come back 1,000 years from now. We have no fucking clue.
Right.
So stupid.
Yeah, it concerns me. And I don't know what the answers are, but
threat of violence, I'm fine with that. I really am. But it's like, how many people, anybody who knows, like, if this is the prime example why I have no faith in any group and everybody's all talk. It's personal. It was the day that everybody had enough of my department, and they all flat out fucking said, we need to write a letter of no confidence on the chief. That's a pretty serious fucking matter. Yeah. So as the union president, I said, I will write a letter of no confidence. Anybody wants to read it, it's in my book, Before the Badge, Everything You Need to Know Before You Become a Cop. You can get it at Amazon. It's from wordsmatterpublishing.com. And the day I brought this, I think it was a 2-page letter. which was then it was preceding a 13-page letter to the mayor and all the village trustees with all the things that he had done, times, dates, department policy violations. Not one of those step and fetch, sheep, blue line brotherhood motherfuckers signed it, and I just can't sign it. I can't sign it.
Oh my God.
I can't sign it. So when it comes down to doing the right thing, there's your fucking bullshit pussy cops. They don't do anything. Well,
look how many of them took the vaccine before
to keep their job.
Yeah, to keep the job before their job was even on the line.
Yeah.
Like there was, I'll only say this: my husband and a few other guys at his department were gonna risk their entire careers over that line, and there was discussion from the city of them making that mandatory, but everybody else, other than the handful of guys that my husband stood with, just volunteered themselves to get the vaccine before it was ever made mandatory. It was just the threat of it being made mandatory. And they all decided, well, I'd rather do it with it being my choice than being forced to do it. And my husband's like, we're still under duress because they were threatening it coming down the line. Like, what are you talking about? Your choice.
I'd rather get raped with coconut oil on my ass than you spitting on your dick and forcing it in. Makes no sense. And I didn't have a problem with any of that shit until it started becoming mandatory. I'm like, go do what you want. Go do what you fucking want.
Right, exactly.
It's so dumb.
If you believe in it, and there were people that believed in it, they believed that it was the right choice, and that's fine. Like, if you really believed in it and you went and made that choice for yourself, your body autonomy, fine, that's fine. But if you're doing it because you think there's going to be a mandatory threat coming, or you do it in response to a mandatory threat, that's under duress, and that's not your choice. That's not okay. Like, it's amazing to me.
Yeah, well, fucking fun now.
So that's the status of a lot of the military, a lot of our law enforcement, the strongest quote unquote men and women in our nation, just folded without even a real credible threat to their livelihood.
And they'll do the same fucking thing to you. You've already seen it. January 6th, the cops were the enemy. Fucking, right. Oh God. And you have, Bird, you have a fucking murderer still roaming the streets in fucking DC for murdering Ashley Babbitt. And what's worse is you have bootlicking, and that's my favorite. Oh my God, this is my absolute favorite. I can't wait. If you are...
This is so much better getting to see your expressions, by the way.
Wait, hang on. Let me do this the right way.
Okay.
I cannot wait for this one. Where's my shit?
Get your sound effects.
Here we go. I can't wait. If you're one of those people who sat there when Bird murdered Ashley Babbitt and you're like, well, she knew what she was doing, and you're one of those blue line bootlickers, I cannot fucking wait for the government to put whatever lockdown or whatever they do next, right, to quell your insurrection and uprising. And you're like, yeah, back to blue. And you got your blue line flag on your car and your blue line t-shirt. You got a tattoo on your arm, back to blue. And you've taken the police test like 20 times and you fucking failed because you're a psycho. But you still wind up back in that blue. I cannot wait until cops show up on your doorstep to enforce whatever mandate. We saw online that you said you disagree with President Harris. And you're like, yeah, but I backed the blue. And the next thing you know, you have a boot on the back of your fucking neck as you're eating sidewalk, wondering where you went wrong in life. Because I backed the blue. I don't understand. As 6 cops tase your nuts and hog tie you and throw you in the back of the fucking car. Because they're yes, sirs, who are just out there collecting a paycheck and you didn't ever fucking realize it from the beginning. Okay.
That's heartbreaking.
I understand. We've got another video that you had played here. Let's see what this is.
This is exciting. I forget what I send you.
I know. That's why I save it for the show.
A democracy is a political system in which the people periodically, by majority vote at the polls, select their rulers. The rulers then have absolute power to make whatever laws they please by...
What a fucking word, their rulers. How about my employee, you fucking cunt? My employee, you work for me. And maybe if more people, both law enforcement and our government, reminded themselves of that, they'd have a better system out there. I've been saying this for years.
Well, this is why we're not a democracy. They've brainwashed us into believing that we're a democracy.
No, we're a constitutional republic.
We're a republic.
It would, if more people understood their oath was to serve the people, it would make them so much easier to back and defend when they do fucking screw up.
Well, there's a really easy way to make sure that that's the case.
Install electric shocks that will kill them in their chairs when they're sitting in their office and they fuck up. We just hit a button collectively. Oh, man, can you imagine that?
You're so morbid.
Dude, think about that. Like that's no, I got an idea. Think about this. Every human being is given a button, right? You're given a button. And it's a presidential button. Let's just start with let's start with the top, right? And the president in 40. Oh, God, I've got the best fucking idea. All right, so you're elected president, and you get that position, and then after this is proven to be a success or failure, we'll branch this off into Congress. Both the Senate and the House will have this. So you have a shock collar on, and there's a couple different options, and it's a dial. It's a dial all the way from 1 to 10. 1 is like, hey, you're screwing up, and 10 is lethal. This is what my thought is anytime the president does something controversial, the news now, both liberal and conservative news, gets to spin the story whatever they want. And at the end of the story, they go, all right, so this is a level 6 offense. And you either have... this is your popular vote. You press the button or don't press the button, and think about how many fucking times the president would be shitting his or her pants going, all right, I shouldn't have done that. Am I going to get shocked or all the way up executed with the number 10 with the popular vote? You do that to the Senate, you're not going to get these life-term fucking people anymore. You're going to get a one-term senator who's like, did my job, I'm fucking done. You're going to get another Hank Johnson up there. If the too many people of Guam stand out one side of the island, will the island tip over? He's going to get shocked like that because he's a fucking dumbass who keeps getting elected. I don't know, but that's, I think, a solution.
I think the problem with that is that you and I both know that it's impossible to make everyone happy. So the Democrats are always going to be shocked to death by the Republicans, and then the Republicans are always going to be shocked to death by the liberals.
That's the point.
So
If you
and we will have no rulers.
No, that's it. That's the point is because there's only one president, right? And that president, if the Republicans believe so much that their president is right, the Democrats in their mass numbers could hit it. We have to have majority. It's our job then to convince our Democrat friends, don't push the button. Don't push the button. So maybe, 81 million Democrats push the button to execute or electrocute the president, but then you've got 81 million.1 because we recruited one that didn't. Oh, majority. He doesn't get shocked today, and he'd be living on the edge.
So it's still the Democratic mob rule, is what you're saying.
100. Why not? Fucking make it work for them. This way,
I think the simpler answer is, the simpler answer that doesn't require us continuing to play this game and live in this falsehood of democracy is stop paying politicians to be our quote unquote employees. If it's a position of service, then make it a position of service. Stop colluding with Wall Street. Stop getting insider trading deals. Stop getting paid to sit and quote unquote rule us. You have people like Beto O'Rourke, who is, and I didn't know this until I ran for office. These people are professional runners and they get to live. Like his campaign donations, this was the mistake I made. The mistake I made when I ran for sheriff was my campaign was titled Dominic Izzo for Cook County Sheriff 2018. So the money could only go for that election. If I had put Dominic Izzo for the people, whatever, I could have collected, let's just say 20 grand in campaign donations. The election's over. I've got $5,000 left. Roll that over into the next, I'm going to run for Park District and then collect more money. That's how they fucking do this. You need to sit there and say your campaign's over. All that money goes right to building the fucking wall. Something like that. Correct. Yeah. No, but like follow the money. Follow the money.
No one cares.
If we actually followed the money and held people accountable by not having this built-in system of making politicians richer than the people that they're supposed to be serving, we wouldn't have a ruling class anymore. That would fix it right there, because you're automatically going to be attracting a different type of person into a position of service rather than a position that they think they can extort to make themselves rich and famous. It attracts a different type of person. So, easy fix.
All right.
Because I think with the shot collar idea, I love that conversation just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
But I think with the shot collar idea, we'd also be fucked as Republicans, because most Republicans, like you and I have talked about before, sit on their ass and don't actually do anything. So if we actually have to show up and push a button, we're still not going to be winning.
I know that.
Majority vote among themselves. In a constitutional republic, the people also, by majority vote at the polls, select rulers who make laws by majority vote among themselves. But the rulers cannot make any laws they please because the Constitution severely restricts their lawmaking power. The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic and transforming it into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of American principles of government. The writers of the Constitution were anxious to safeguard liberty against dictatorship, monarchy they called it. But their chief anxiety was to protect the country against democracy. Edmund Randolph, delegate to the Constitutional
Yeah, to sum this all up, for those who do not know the difference, constitutional republic and democracy, there's 100 of us. And I say, who wants to go for ice cream? And everyone's, yeah, I want to go for ice cream. Ice cream! And 99 people say, we want chocolate. Then Kayla goes, but I want vanilla. Well, instead of taking the bus of people for chocolate one place, vanilla other, we all beat the shit out of Kayla for that one and go, fuck you. You're getting chocolate or nothing, bitch. That's how democracy works.
Yeah.
That's how it
It's
works.
mob rule.
Fucking mob. So dumb. What did you, you sent me this one with, was it female, perpetual female, hang on. I'll play the audio for this one.
You know, after a week of marriage, if you just keep this up, this could be a very successful marriage. She's doing exactly as he tells her.
That's Bob Barker from an old dating game.
Yeah.
There's a lady booing that thought out there. Do you hear that? Yes, I want to point out she's not with a man either. No. You know.
Nice. No, I miss the old game show days. We had like Richard Dawson kissing every fucking woman who came down on Family Feud. You played another one. I think this is relevant for the Diddy trial. I remember when this woman was brought out. She's been around for years making these claims. And I never understood this kind of stuff where it's like, if these claims are real, how come she's been allowed to live for all this time? I mean, I saw her like 5-6 years ago making these kind of claims. Well, this is Allie Carter, survivor of the underworld. There's cities underground at P. Diddy, Playboy Mansions, tunnels. They've talked about Oprah had this was back in the QAnon days. Oprah had tunnels. They've talked about the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases and stuff. So, I mean, just because Diddy is relevant, let's hear what she has to say.
There's cities underground. There's warehouses underground. There's actual homes underground. People build these tunnels, and they've built them for decades. There's a lot of elite celebrities. They go down there for parties. Underneath the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, California. I was there for a cock party. We walked through the museum, through the garden area, and employees led us to underground tunnels. We had to take an elevator and stairs. We had to be led. There is no way that you can just walk into a tunnel. The entrances and the exits are in your face, but there's no way that you can just walk through tunnels. You'll get stuck. You'll go deeper and deeper, and you won't be able to come back out because it's hard, because the tunnels run all different directions for miles and miles and miles and miles. So if you go down the wrong one, you'll get stuck, and it's confusing to turn back around and get back to where you're going. So you have to be led in and out. I think people assume that when you
I believe her, because I mean, when you really think about it, how much money these people have, and they're not creating anything out of the blue, because we went through World War II and the Bay of Pigs, where everybody thought that Cuba was going to nuke us. So they've had underground shelters and shit for probably a century. I don't doubt anything she's saying.
At least.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
I think a lot of these tunnels have been built relatively recently, like what you're saying.
I think really reinforced, sure.
Yeah. I think a lot of tunnels, though, have been here for much, 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 much longer. I mean, look at the Great Pyramids and how deep those tunnels go. So there's been technology that has been lost. Like, we have not progressed in technology. We have regressed, if you learn history.
Yeah. And there's nothing new under the sun.
There's nothing new under the sun. So I really believe that a lot of the tunnel systems, whether she's telling the truth or not from personal experience, it doesn't really matter.
Well, they've got tunnels under the White House and shit. I mean, that's how they've been joking. That's how Marilyn Monroe was brought into the White House for Kennedy. So,
well, and there's tunnel systems under Epstein Island. Like, there's tunnel systems.
Yeah, submarine tunnels
everywhere. Yeah. So, we want to talk about like the invasion at our border. That's just what we can see on the surface.
Build a wall. We'll bring them underneath. What's
happening underneath? I mean, they've even found tunnels under the border that people are coming in through. So,
well, the Viet Cong would know. That's all you got to do is you hire a bunch of Viet Cong, and they'll teach you how to dig properly.
It's a big conversation, but I found that clip interesting specifically.
I believe her. I believe her. I don't put anything past these people.
A cop party.
COP.
Yeah, COP.
I thought you said COCK. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like that, but whatever. Cop COP party, which I know has a lot of you want to talk about backing the blue, like the thin blue line, there's a lot of connections to Freemasonry. And
I've heard that for years, and I only know one guy who said he was a Freemason. That was 20 years ago. I've never had any.
They don't really publicize it, dear.
FlexYourFeminine.com. That's who the show is brought to you by today. Go get your health, your femininity back. Don't be a woman who acts like a fucking man. You'll be living alone with cats and self-hatred and fucking, I don't know. I don't know what. You'll just be a miserable cunt. Don't do that. Go to FlexYourFeminine.com. There's help for you there if you're struggling a little bit.
Izzo.
There you go. Check out Spreely.com. Go to your smart TV, download the Spreely TV app or Freedom Hub, all one word for your smartphone. Have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Going to do a bigger show on Tuesday. Do you want to come on Tuesday and talk politics to everybody for the election? All right, we're gonna have a big show on Tuesday. There's gonna be a lot of people here. All right, you guys have a great damn weekend. I'm going to survive another wedding on Saturday. Oh, shit. It's going to be great.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know.
Your favorite.
Oh, I'm so fucking old. Like, 8:30 came the last time. I'm like, were you done? I'm done. Let's get the fuck out of here. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Go help somebody today. And if you can't help them, do not hurt them. See you guys later.
Bye.